Hey boys and girls, how are you? It's Mr. Tom again, and I'm here to read you a story. You like reading stories with me? I'm telling you, that's Mr. Tom's favorite part of the day in the classroom, is when we get to read stories together. It's so much fun. You get to use your imagination, right? So stories are great. But our theme now, our new study we're talking about, is reduce, reuse, and recycle. We're going to read this book. Don't lose it. Reuse it. And on the cover we see a little boy making, what's he making? Looks like a robot, right? And what is he using? It looks like paper towel rolls, bathroom tissue rolls, and maybe a box. It looks like maybe he took a box. Like, do you have any of these at home? Tissue boxes? When you're done with them, all the tissues have been used. You could take this box and maybe you could make a robot out of it. Put some paint on it, maybe color it with some magic markers, tape a few tubes to it, make your own robot. That would be kind of fun. So our theme is reduce, reuse, recycle. And right here, this right here is the logo for recycling. We're going to be seeing that a lot more. Some things don't get thrown in the trash. Some things get recycled. And this book talks about reusing a lot of things to have fun with. So let's read it. Don't Lose It, Reuse It by Nancy Noel Williams. Every day we throw things away. But before you toss something into the trash, stop. Think. Recycle. Ask yourself, how can I reuse this? What can you make with cardboard tubes? Oh, these kids are playing. They're having some fun. You can make a telescope or play on your horn. You can make a tunnel for your race car. You could cut some tubes in half and decorate each one to make a napkin rings. Let me zoom in a little bit on that so you can see it better. See, he's pretending that's a horn. That little boy's pretending it's a horn. He's playing a tune. That's a telescope because they're playing pirate. This one is a tunnel that the little boy or girl can ride their car through. Decorate some tubes and boxes to make your very own robot. That looks like the picture that we saw on the front cover, doesn't it? Wow, that's really neat. I think he spent a lot of time working on that. But it's okay. You can work on something and then stop and work on it the next day. It's an extended project. And Mr. Tom has a lot of those going on around his house. What can you do with old buttons and beads? What can you do with them? You can string beads together to hang in your room and see how long you can make the string. You could decorate your room. We used the word decorate before. Decorate. That means to make something nicer, to spruce it up, to make it pretty. You can decorate your room with beads, extra beads and buttons. Or, and Mr. Tom could do this, you could go outside and gather some pine cones and glue colorful buttons to them to make decorations. Little things you have around the house, you can glue them to a pine cone. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. Pine cones that are decorated. Now, if it was Christmas time, you could put a hook on those and hang them from your Christmas tree. That would really be cool because it would be a pine cone. It would sort of look like it belongs on a tree anyway. But this is stuff you can do with things you have laying around. If you have pine cones around your house, Mr. Tom has a couple trees that make lots of pine cones. I have to take a rake and rake them up and shovel them into a wheelbarrow and get them out. What can you do with big and small boxes? You can put a gift in a box, or you can decorate some paper and then wrap up the box. Make up your own wrapping paper for a box that has a present in it for a friend if it's their birthday. You can make a tower by piling up the boxes. Maybe you can make a really tall building like we used to do in the classroom when we used to go to the classroom and play. Remember those cardboard blocks that were blue, red, yellow, and green? We would stack them up real tall and make big skyscraper buildings. Well, you could do that with blocks at home. And then these are cardboard. I think you could probably take a magic marker and color all over those and make a design on it. Maybe make some windows, some doors. Remember Harold and the purple crayon? He used his purple crayon to draw big, tall buildings with windows on them. You could do that too. That's bigger than her. Way bigger than her. What can you do with really big boxes? You can cut out windows and make your own playhouse. He made his own little fort. This little child, if you have a marker in a box, you can make your own race car. Zoom, zoom. Now, what kind of box can you use for this? It's got to be a big one. You can't use a tissue box for this because that would be too small. You're not going to fit in that. But maybe a dishwasher, refrigerator. I don't know if refrigerators even come in boxes. It's been a while. But if you have a bigger box, maybe you could make it into something like this. That would be kind of fun. I've never been able to get a box that big to take into the classroom, so we haven't never been able to do it. But that looks kind of cool. What can you make with paper bags? That's a paper bag. Mr. Tom used to use those when I was younger to go to school. I put my lunch in it. It was called a brown bag lunch, and a lot of us kids did it. But you can draw a funny face on your paper bag and make a hand puppet. You can make a larger puppet with a grocery bag and have a puppet show with your friends. See, they all got together and they're painting their paper bags, and they're gonna have a puppet show. We've used our little puppets, our cloth puppets in the classroom. Mr. Tom used them a lot. Remember Forgetful Freddy and Forgetful Fiona? They solved a lot of problems together just by talking things out. But you can make your own puppet with a paper bag. You can get paper bags actually for free from the grocery store. Next time you go, say, Mommy, when they ask you paper or plastic, say paper. At least for a couple of them. What can you make with old newspapers? Well, you can turn them into little boats and you can float them for a little while until they get wet and soggy and just go. But for a while they'll float. And you can make some hats to wear with a friend. That looks fun. I'm sure you could decorate those too. What can you do with old clothes? Well, you can use hats, shoes, and old jewelry to make a costume. Change your voice and your name and you can become a new character. She looks like she's dressed up to be a movie star. So she might say, oh, darling, I look so wonderful. I'm going to Hollywood to be a star. I'm going to get a job and I'm going to act in a TV show or on Broadway. Use your imagination. You can grab some things from the kitchen and have a parade. An old shirt makes a great paint smock, so you don't get the paint on you. But going back to this, what are they doing? They're having a parade. Now you got to check with Mommy and Daddy to make sure that they don't have a headache first before you do this. But you can make music with different things. Maybe a pot and a pan, or maybe a little whisk. You can play some music. Reusing things. Reusing things. And what can you do with sticks and sponges? You can make your own group of wacky stick people. If you have any of these craft sticks, or do any of you ever eat popsicles? I do. I eat popsicles sometimes. And you can use the sticks. If you don't throw them away, you can save them, right? Wash them a little bit, get the color out of them, and you can draw a picture on them. You can glue some googly eyes on them, or maybe make your own googly eyes. Draw them and cut them out and glue them on. And then you can have a puppet show with these. Could be fun. And she's using old sponges to make a painting with. Interesting. That must make an interesting pattern on the paper. And what can you make with empty bottles and cans? Wash out a bottle, cut an opening like an open door on its side, put bird seeds inside, and hang the bottle in a tree and watch the birds eat. It's cool to watch birds come and eat seeds out of a bird feeder. Because then you get to hear the birds go. It's beautiful. Birds can sing so good, can't they? You could take an old can that Mommy and Daddy open up to get some food out of, And you can fill it with dirt and plant vegetables or flowers in them. Water the seeds and watch them grow. Ooh. Mr. Tom's actually, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to actually do that. We're gonna take Mr. Tom's sending you some grass seeds and some instructions, so you and your mommy and daddy can put a little dirt, get a little dirt from outside. Ask mommy where and daddy where it's okay to get a little dirt, and you can put some grass seeds in it and watch them grow. Mr. Tom's going to send you that in the mail, so you're going to be getting a letter in an envelope in the mail soon, boys and girls, in a few days. And you can keep your pencils organized in an empty can. They're great for that. Mr. Tom's done that too. And then you can cut a piece of paper out and draw a design and wrap it around the can so it looks nice. And what can you make with socks? Well, use old socks for this, but find some buttons and thread for the eyes, and sew some yarn for hair, and you've got a sock puppet. Sock puppets are really cool. You can write a story and then act it up. You can act it out. You can pretend that your sock puppets are real people, and you can have them do something, and you can pretend with them. Don't lose your chance to make something new the next time you pick up some trash. Take a good look, and then remember, don't lose it, reuse it. You can use the things around your house a lot of times to do new things with. That's our book, boys and girls. It's called Don't Lose It, Reuse It. So boys and girls, thanks a lot for reading the book with us, and we'll have more books coming up soon. All right, boys and girls. Hope you're doing good. Mr. Tom says goodbye.